Have you ever been in a room and noticed that the most powerful person, well, they're not the one talking the most? It's kind of fascinating, right? So today, we're diving into this idea called strategic silence. We're going to break down 5 specific phrases that you almost never hear from really smart, effective people, and we'll figure out the powerful thinking behind why they choose to stay quiet.
So right off the bat, let's just throw a big question out there. We have this idea that the genius is the person who's holding court, just dazzling everyone with their words. But what if that's all wrong? What if real intelligence, real strategic thinking shows up not in what you say, but in what you consciously decide not to say?
And that leads us to this first big idea, which I think is so interesting, the intelligence illusion. It's this myth that's so deeply ingrained in our culture, we don't even see it happening.
Think about it. In a meeting, or a classroom, or even just watching people debate on TV, who do we think is the smartest? It's usually the person with the quickest comeback, the fastest answer. But that's a huge bias. Verbal speed isn't the same as mental speed. One is about quick recall, but the other, the one that really counts, is about deep processing, about analysis, about seeing what's coming next.
Okay, so if true intelligence isn't just about talking fast, what is it about? Well, this brings us to the real heart of the matter, the art of strategic silence.
Now, the most important word in this whole definition is conscious. This is not about being shy, okay? It's not about having nothing to say. It's an active, powerful decision. It's choosing to hold back, to actually watch what's happening in the room, to process what people are really saying, and then to make your words land with maximum impact when you finally do speak.
A great way to think about this is like a game of chess. An amateur, well, they only see their next move, but a grandmaster, they're thinking 10 moves ahead. That's exactly what's going on here. People who use strategic silence are playing the long game. They're thinking about the ripple effects of their words, how it will affect relationships, morale, and the final outcome.
So, how does this actually look in the real world? Let's get concrete. We're going to break down 5 very specific phrases that people who've mastered this art just avoid. These are the 5 silent strategies.
All right, let's start with number 1. Oh, this is a classic. I think every single one of us has been tempted to say this at some point.
Yes, that sweet, sweet moment of proving you were right all along. It feels good, doesn't it? But it's a phrase that a truly strategic person will almost always bite their tongue on. But why? When you look at it this way, it's so clear. The impulse is just pure ego, right? It's a quick hit of feeling good. But the strategic cost, it's huge. You instantly make the other person defensive. You crack the trust between you, and you actually steal their chance to learn the lesson on their own. By staying quiet, you're playing the long game. You keep the relationship strong, and you let them have their own moment of realization.
Okay, on to our second one. You hear this one all the time, especially at work.
You've heard it. Maybe you've even said it. And on the surface, it seems fair. You're just drawing a boundary. But the message it sends is so much bigger, and honestly, none of it is good. The impulse is totally defensive. It's about building a little wall around yourself and your to-do list. But the strategic move, it's to build a bridge instead. Even just saying, let's figure out who the right person is, completely changes the dynamic. It fosters collaboration. And the amazing thing is, when you have that open mindset, you start spotting these hidden opportunities for growth you would have completely missed from behind your wall. Number 3 is up. Now this one might seem totally harmless, but it's actually a pretty subtle sign of a closed-off mind.
It's just a feeling, right? You're just saying how you feel. But what are you really saying to the people around you? And maybe more importantly, what are you saying about your own sense of curiosity?
What's so powerful here is the difference between arrogance and humility. When you announce you're bored, you're kind of saying, this is beneath me. But a genuinely intelligent person, they come from a place of humility. They believe there's something to learn from anyone in any situation. To them, being bored isn't a problem with the world. It's a failure of their own curiosity.
Let's move on to number 4. Oh, this one is just a total conversation killer.
Oof. It's so blunt, it's dismissive, and it's probably the fastest way to make sure no one on your team ever shares a creative thought again.
The impulse is all about power. You shut down the conversation and prove you're the smartest person in the room. But strategically, it's a complete disaster. Real innovation, real breakthroughs, they need what's called psychological safety. People have to feel safe enough to share wild, half-formed, and maybe even stupid ideas without getting shot down. A smart person will say, interesting, tell me more about that, or what if we tried it this way? They nurture ideas. They don't assassinate them.
And that brings us to our final strategy. And this one might be the most subtle of them all.
Wait a minute. What could possibly be wrong with "I'll try"? It sounds like you're being conscientious, like you're going to give it your best shot. But from a strategic point of view, it's actually incredibly weak.
See, here's the secret. "I'll try" isn't a commitment. It's a pre-built excuse. The impulse is to give yourself an out in case you fail. But a strategic thinker values clarity and trust more than anything. They either commit 100%, "I will get this done by Friday," or they're honest about their limits. "I can definitely do A and B, but I'm going to need help with C." It's all about accountability.
So we've gone through all 5 of these phrases. What's the big picture here? What's the key idea we can walk away with and actually use?
It really all comes down to a fundamental shift in how you see communication. It's about stopping the chase for those short-term ego boosts and instead focusing on building long-term influence. It's about seeing silence not as an empty space, but as a tool you can use to observe and learn. It's about using your words to build bridges, not walls. And maybe most of all, it's remembering that a conversation isn't a debate you have to win. It's a strategic chessboard.
So I want to leave you with this one final thought. Think of it like a little mental filter you can run everything through. The next time you're about to speak, just pause for a half second and ask yourself this one question. Am I saying this to make myself feel good right now? Or am I saying this to get the best possible outcome in the long run? The answer to that question, well, it's going to tell you everything you need to know.